Happy Aloha Tuesday. Excited to go live today and talk about a few things. There's a lot going on. We just got back from Japan. So I kind of wanted to update you guys on that and about heading into my 40s era. Also, some things I wish I would have known earlier on that helped me build wealth, helped me make a lot of money, millions through real estate, and now own rental properties, RV parks, office buildings, be a fund manager, partner, all before I turned 40. So, just a quick heads up too. I'm also on the desktop on the computer. I can't really see people unless you engage or comment. So make sure you're leaving a comment. You have any questions real estate related, about wealth building. My page shares all about that and tips and tricks, especially credit card hacking, travel hacking has been my new concentration because I want to travel way more this year than I ever did. Using, while I'm traveling, I'm still making passive income, which is the goal. Let's here get to the comments. So just going to wait a few more minutes for people to hop on. If you're in your 30s, then, or younger than that, let me know how old you are if you're brave enough in the comments. I kind of want to see where everybody's at. And that kind of helps me frame how I answer questions too, because depending on where you're at in life right now, there's different solutions for you. So let's see. Aloha, Lauren, Chance, Tootie. Let's see who else is on here. Sonoy, Felipe, Nicole, Karen. Aloha. Thanks, you guys, for hopping on. Jeremy, Steph. So if you guys are ready to build wealth right now, 2026, like or leave a heart on this live and share it to your friends so they can join too. And make sure you're following me on Instagram, on TikTok, YouTube. I post tips on life, investing, building wealth every single week. On YouTube, I do longer form, also short form, and on TikTok and Instagram, and actually Threads too. So if you like more written content, I'm on there posting every day, and Facebook as well. And there are different types of content too. So you never know what might hit you. So today, now that we have a few more people on, Chad, thanks, Luli, Nadine, Steph. Let's see, who do we have here? Ranji, Sam, Tak. We are going to be sharing lessons I knew in my 30s. There's some, while in my 30s, I'm 39. I'm going to be 40 in May. So I wanted to share what helped to get me here from working a 9 to 5 as an engineer, totally burnt out, not really loving my job, but I think more people are aware now that the typical way that we were taught to be successful, or that would have us have make enough money to buy a house, to live a comfortable lifestyle for our families. A lot of that, the way was you went to college, you got a really good job, and then you kind of work till you retire, but you'd be able to take, maybe a vacation every year, buy a home, be comfortable. But now we're learning in this new day and age, especially with AI and all this technology coming up, that a lot more jobs aren't going to be needed in the future. And so it's important that you stay ahead of the curve. You have multiple streams of income, and a lot more people are making that income online, and knowing how to utilize making income passively, especially, is key. And it doesn't necessarily need to just be online, but it's just knowing other ways that are out there that the rich people are doing, that everyday people can do as well, if they knew about it, if they educated themselves about it. And the number one thing that I've learned over the past, I would say 10 years, that has led me to change my life and become millionaire in 3 years, multimillionaire in 5 years, was to really think outside the box. I think anything you do that you've never done before, you're always going to feel uncomfortable. But getting around people that have had success, and not in the traditional way, I think I know that I felt like it was risky. I felt like, is this real? I had a lot of doubts because I had never knew anybody that had invested in real estate before. I barely even knew people that owned homes, like very handful of people, probably when I first turned 30, maybe like only a couple of my friends had bought homes at that point. So in the circles that I was in, or the people that I was around, they weren't doing things that I seen online, or I seen or heard about people on podcasts, or seen all these successful people. But once I started listening to podcasts, reading books, following them on social media, I started to think differently. It started to get me to question, like, okay, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can do it, but how do I start where I'm at, right? Do I have to have a lot of money? And so once you go down that rabbit hole of asking yourself questions on, like, how can I do it? You're more likely to find a solution. So with that, that is something that I learned too, is that you can become the bank. Like, a huge lesson I learned is that there's multiple ways that you can buy a home. There's multiple ways you can invest. And it doesn't have to be the traditional route. And so I've bought in banks. I mean, I bought in homes directly through the owner. So they finance it for me. I've bought homes with other people's money. So everyday people that let me money from their savings or retirement, and use that money to buy the home. So I didn't have to qualify, right? I think that's everybody thinks that you have to qualify every time. So you have to make a lot of money. You have to have a lot of money. But that's not true. There's other ways that you can purchase homes that's not widely talked about, because you have to think outside the box, and you have to think like an investor. And so that's something else that I learned, is that even though it was different and didn't feel safe, the more I put myself around people that were actually doing it, I got the confidence to start doing it and build wealth at an accelerated rate. Like, that's the only way that you can really scale, is if you do something different, right? You can't be doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, if you kind of have a set salary or a set amount that you can make. I think that's what I believe in the future. Everybody's going to be entrepreneurs. Like, you have to be an entrepreneur in order to be able to survive and keep up with inflation. So that's another thing that I learned. with that, a quick question. Do you guys have any questions for me? Put it in the chat, like this live as well, so we can share it with more people. I want to see if anybody has questions, especially for those who are approaching their 40s, or maybe if you're older than that and you have some wisdom to share with us. I'm always open to learning or hearing from other people as well. Aloha Rose, Taki, Vanessa, Breezy, Locke. Very interesting names here too. So what's one thing you wish someone would have told you when you're younger? I think people always told me to like dream bigger, and definitely I could do anything. But I don't think at that point, especially when you're younger, you have the confidence because you don't even know what you want to do. So I think anybody right now too who's just graduating from high school or maybe just getting out of college, there's so much opportunity out there for you, and you don't have to be locked into this box, right? For me, it was graduate from college, you get a good job, you stay there forever, well, until you can retire. But for someone that didn't come from money, I just wanted to follow that path so that I could not struggle like my parents struggled or my family struggled. Hey, Delay, Chris. So, with that, I'm going to cover some key points. Your 30s definitely go faster than your 20s. I mean, 20s was amazing year being in college. I definitely don't regret going to college and having that extra experience of independence, especially going out of state. I'm from Hawaii, and so I went to, not too far though, I went to California, and it was a totally different lifestyle, totally different environment, even though, I mean, it's sunny in California, it's a beach city. I went to Cal State Long Beach. But at the same time, being independent, being away from your parents, being away from your family, anybody that you knew, that was a huge shift for me. And it helped me to grow up. It helped me to learn and be more independent, learn about like even getting my first apartment on my own, right? And paying bills and what is important. Like I remember just like food was not that important at that time. You were living off Simon and whatever, like quick eats and things like that. But I think it just opened up my thinking to be like, there's a whole world out there that, you know, if you're just still in the same city that you grew up in and you never left, which is fine for a lot of people. But now with us, like just coming back from Japan, traveling the world, like going to all these different places, it just opened up my eyes to the potential that you can do way more than you're doing now. And it's not to say like work way more, but you have so much more potential to achieve success. And I don't want people to get caught up in what they can't do, but trying to think of what can you do, because honestly, there's not enough people right now that are trying to imagine things. And I think that was one of the biggest wake up calls that I had recently, especially going to Japan, going to Tokyo, going to Tokyo Disney, which was a spur of the moment thing as well. But when I went there and watched one of the parades, I don't know why, it just struck me because I'm not really into Disney. I'm not really an emotional person, but when I watched the parade, like this flood of emotions came to me, and I had a lot of, I would say, just like memories come back or just like feelings, right? And from just this one electric parade just brought me to think of like how much hope and how much dreams and how much, when you're a kid, you just have such big open eyes to the world and possibilities. And as you get older, and I don't know if it's just, of course, it's life experiences and things like that, and other things you go through while you're trying to figure out what you want to do or figure out who you even are, that it kind of, I wouldn't say like puts you down, but you don't go for it anymore. And I want, especially this next generation coming up, anybody in their 20s and 30s, to like know that you can go for it, even if you're older than that. Like you can still, now is not too late to do something that you've always wanted to do. So that is definitely something I want you guys to take away from this. Let's see. Let's go to the comments. Oh, Lauren, how was your Japan experience? Japan. Has anybody been to Japan? Type in the chat if you have been there before. Ronnie, Ellen, just joining, Kath, Iris. If you have been in Japan, put it in the chat. It is amazing. It was my first time going there. And because the US dollar right now, the conversion rate is so high, a lot of things are way cheaper for us to buy. So like every day we would go to the convenience store, sandwiches would be $1, which over here would be $10 to $15, depending on what you're buying. Just like random things like cosmetics, soaps, like even souvenirs were just like everything just felt like you were going to like a dollar store, for those in America. And it was kind of crazy to be able to eat like 5-star meals, Wagyu, like really, really expensive fish for like $10 to $15. Like it is hands down, the quality of food there is amazing. Like you can tell the Japanese people really take pride in anything that they do, whether it's um, making good quality food at the convenience store, whether it's, going to a restaurant, whether it's even like we hired a tour guide to take us around, and all the people we met in the different towns were just really nice and really considerate. There's a lot of things, must knows too, when you go to that country. Um, One is, I would say the biggest thing to me that I didn't know before or didn't realize was like how they walk on one side of the street. So if you're walking one direction, like you can't take up the whole street. And because we're a big group, there was 9 of us. A lot of times we tended just to like just naturally kind of scatter or like want to be next to each other. So we'd take up the whole sidewalk. But they actually have like delineators in the middle to where, okay, people are walking on one side, go this way, and the other ones go the other way. So through every city, they had that. Another thing I realized was that they don't have trash cans everywhere like there are in America. And so, but there's not trash everywhere in Tokyo City. And what happens is like you end up walking around with your trash. So you, like, I still in my bag, in my purse, I have a plastic bag. And whenever we'd eat throughout the day, or if we were like snacking on stuff, we just put in the plastic bag and leave it in our purse. But their cities, that's how they keep it clean. Like it's smart, but everybody follows the rules. And I think that is the difference between, you know, Japan and America. Because a lot of people here, they don't just want to do whatever they want to do. So Japan was great. We'll definitely be back again. But overall, for us to be able to go there, like we literally probably planned that a month ago. So at the drop of a dime, we're basically able to travel because of the life that we set up in our 30s. Like literally, I was a totally different job, working in a totally different environment, a totally different mindset than I have now of like, okay, I'm going to show up to my job and then I'm going to leave. Like that's all I do every day, do what I need to do and get out. But I never thought of more or having multiple streams of income to then like be able to afford more vacations or more time off. And I think that was the biggest thing for me to realize is that this shift in how you think about things. And if you love your job, definitely stay at your job. And when I started investing, I actually stayed at my job, which I did not enjoy, but I stayed until I knew this investing thing was something I wanted to do full time. So make sure that if you're jumping into something, I'm not saying to like quit and go all in, but definitely make sure that it's something that is going to work out for you and you're putting in work on the back end to make it successful. And it's going to be sacrificed in the beginning, but I'm going to pause now. I see a few more questions here. Hey, Kim, Saga, Spitty, Monica, Fran, J-Rod, Jason. Okay, so Nadine asks, when investing in property, is it wise to not put it in your name, even a trust that has your name? I'm not a attorney or a licensed CPA or anything like that, but for me, when I bought rental properties, I bought them in my own name. And just recently, I'm changing them into my trust. So if it's a rental property, I typically will do that because I get a lower interest rate if I'm able to qualify using my own income. So if you're still able to qualify, then you can put it might be better for you to just put in your own name. And I do have a higher insurance as well. So a lot of people, what they do is when they buy a rental property, they want to put in an LLC, and that's fine too. Some of them, mine out of state, are in an LLC because they are 5 units or more, so they're bigger, considered commercial properties. But you have to do what's right for you. For me, I mean, a lot of people think an LLC will shield you, will protect you if somebody tries to sue you, but that's not always the case, especially if you don't have your business set up correctly. So if you guys do want to talk to the people that I use in order to set up my investment companies, set up my trusts, create my LLCs too, I can put their information in the chat or in the comments below as well. Would you want that, Nadine? So thumbs up, a like, or something. You can put it in. So my trust does not have my name on it. So, I mean, even if you have a trust, and I'm not an advisor, I'm not telling you what to do, but for me, that's exactly why I didn't want to put my name on the trust. A lot of people say that banks are going to have a harder time with if your trust is not in your name whenever you pass or to qualify for different accounts. But I haven't had that issue. So I wanted more privacy. So I didn't put the trust in our actual names, and my banks are fine with that. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Nadine. Yeah. So for me, I have a team of people now that I have more investment properties, more investment accounts, and I kind of lean on their advice. And you'll find that oftentimes what a lawyer's advice is versus what a CPA's advice is versus a financial advisor versus other colleagues that are doing the same thing as you, they'll all be different pieces of advice. So you got to filter that to figure out what's the right thing for you. And a lot of times they'll be different. So I remember my lawyer was like, okay, you can do this and this and this LLC, depending on what your strategy is. So you kind of have to have an idea of what you're going to do in order to figure out what is the best route for you. But then when I talked to my CPA, he was like, oh, well, you're just creating all this extra fees that really won't protect you in the end. Like it may, but you never know if somebody hires a good enough lawyer um, or does forensic accounting and has you turn in all this paperwork. If you're using a bank account anyway in your name or like distributing the funds to yourself, like they can track all of that as well. So depends to what state you're in as well on what information, personal information they can get from you, even if you have an LLC. So just some things to think about, but not scare you. And I know a lot of people always are a little bit more fearful holding properties or investments in their names, but um, I still do to this day have some of them, and it's fine. If anybody was to um, take legal action, I have umbrella insurance as well, business insurance, and things like that that will help to cover me. I don't think putting anything in an LLC will prevent you from being sued or prevent them from being able to access your personal information or hold you personally liable. But I think that's like once you become a multimillionaire, right? Then you have to kind of worry about those types of things. So for those who are watching and are just like, oh man, I'll start. I know Zasha is talking to me. I know I want to do, you know, something. I want to invest in something. I just don't know where to start. Or maybe I'm just like, I'm not ready yet. Like, I don't feel like I'm ready. And honestly, I didn't feel ready. And I think ready depends, like, you could know everything and still not feel ready. So I think you just start, even if you're scared, even if you don't know for sure what's the right answer, you're not going to know until you actually do it. So I would say the number one thing though, before you start anything new, especially with investing, is getting educated. Getting educated by people that are doing what you want to do or have done it and have had success. So there are so many people out there. And if you're in Hawaii, we do have free workshops, financial classes online. We're actually having one next week, Tuesday. So if you guys want more information, put in the chat as well. You can comment masterclass, and I believe a ManyChat will send you information. If not, make sure to message me the word masterclass and it'll send you over the link for our one happening, I believe, next week, Tuesday. So I know, is anybody here scared to start investing? Put it in the chat. Are you scared? Is there something holding you back? Thanks for joining, Tumelo, Stephanie, Omar, D, Anna, B. We are just talking about investing and just ways to build multiple streams of income. Someone said, I'm scared that I've been procrastinating for too long. No, like I said, it's never too late to start. I wish I would have got started earlier too. I wish I would have known a lot of the things I know now, but a lot of them came to because I put myself in the right circles, but also with the right network. And I just started does anybody here still read books or listen to audibles? I mean, but really, if you're listening, like take it in, because there's a lot of times where I'm listening to podcasts or audibles and I really don't actually process the information. I feel like I'm listening to it because it's just there. It's almost like the radio. But reading books, especially when I wanted to make a huge shift in my life, helped me so much to put me in the right mind frame. So Rich Dad Poor Dad, I read oh my gosh, Miracle Morning. There's so many books that I read in the beginning to get me motivated. But one thing that I learned too, I would say in my 30s, was that it was the habits that I had that really shifted me to be able to not be scared to make that change. It was like getting up early, educating myself, going to work, after work, dealing with the kids. At night, after they were going to bed, I would look at, more deals, and just the consistency of putting in work and sacrificing that time in the beginning was huge. But it all started off with my habits. I didn't realize how much that could change your life, like having good habits and sticking to it, right? Just like anything else, especially the biggest thing that comes to my mind is like working out. If you stick to it long enough, you'll look better, right? Because you're working out, you're eating well, and you're sticking to those habits. And I think that's the one thing I've learned over the years is just like health isn't negotiable. You have to, no matter if you fall off, right? You fall off, everybody does. I just went to Japan for 2 weeks. We did walk a lot, but I also ate a lot. So, and more than I usually do. I typically don't eat breakfast. So I'll fast in the morning. Now, I mean, I'm having a shake because trying to get back on a routine, but the consistency is key. So make sure too that I think over the last years, I definitely to this day don't get enough rest, and rest will help you to avoid burnout. So that's another thing that I've learned over these years. And I think the number one thing too for me is, what do they say? Comparison is the thief of joy. The thief of joy? Yeah, I think that is it. But don't compare your journey to anyone else's. We do have a online community, a coaching program. And what I found is that, and I did this in the beginning too, is we oftentimes are our worst critic. We're hard on ourselves. And when we see other people succeeding, like there's some students that we have that went from, just starting off to now buying multiple rentals, buying commercial real estate, um, doing these builds right here in Hawaii. And they're just taking off. And there's some who have been in our program for a while and it's taking them time. And I know um, from a few of them who've talked to me, it's just like, oh man, but everybody else is doing all this stuff and I still haven't got to that point. And then that also hinders them from achieving success too, because then they're thinking, oh, well, they already did it in a certain timeline. I didn't get there yet. So maybe this is not meant for me. But that's not true. Everybody goes at their own pace. Everybody has a different financial situation, a different threshold for risk, and also just different lives, right? For somebody that has a lot of kids or, um, is taking care of a lot of people, or even having to take care of themselves and in a different state, physical state, it's going to be a little bit harder, take a little bit more time. But in wealth building, and if you're trying to make another stream of income that's more passive, you want to make sure that you're making the right decision for you. And I know that's what holds a lot of people back. And I think Nadine, I mentioned that before, is just like you start procrastinating because you think that, oh, well, maybe right now is not the time for me because I don't feel confident, but you're never going to feel confident. And you don't want to have any regrets. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned too, is that you don't want to regret not starting, not doing something. And like anything else, I think investing, especially investing your money the right way over a longer period of time, will have way more benefits for you than starting off later. So start now. I think that's the key takeaway, in that have those hard conversations, especially if you want to do something different and maybe you are in a relationship or married. Like, have those hard conversations now, because that will help then to put you in a better place to feel more confident about your decisions, with you already talk through with the person that maybe you're tied to financially. And I think, like I mentioned before, just invest in yourself first. Invest in coaching, invest in courses, get educated, invest in books, therapy if you need it, to help you get through. Get around the right networks of people. If you're in Hawaii as well, we host free meetups on Maui and Oahu, sometimes on the Big Island as well. And in the next, I think, in a few months, there'll be some auctions happening here in Hawaii that are like key ways to get deals, houses at a discount. We teach people how to do it with Aloha, right? Like, there's ways to buy properties at a discount that are the pono way, the right way. And we just want to make sure that you are thinking outside the box. You're building multiple streams of income. And like I mentioned before, one of the things I wish I would have known earlier is that you can become the bank. Other people have become the bank for me. I've been the bank for other people. And what that basically means is we're doing what all these corporations and rich people are doing, and we are choosing where to put our money. Now, if you have zero money, you can always leverage other people's money, right? If you know someone with money, you connect with someone with money. Well, Zasha, I don't know anybody that has money. It's like, okay, do they have a retirement account? Do they have a home? They have access to equity in their home? Are they open to leveraging that, right? There's so many different ways that money can move and money can grow and money can scale. But you have to be educated. You have to know what your risk tolerance is. And you have to be aware of other people's financial situation. So we have many people that are investing their savings, retirement with us. and we're helping them to grow it, right? There's also the stock market that you could invest in. There's also high yield savings accounts that you could do. So it all depends on, each of these have a different level of risk, because every investment is a risk. I'm not going to say that it's not, but it depends on what you're willing to invest in and what kind of returns that you want. You get higher returns with the ones that are non-traditional, but you could just start with a high yield savings account that could give you 3 to 4% returns over the course of the year, versus your savings account right now that is probably giving you less than 1%. It's probably giving you 0.01%, honestly. And most checking accounts don't give you interest on your money in there. So if you have, 10, 20, 50, $100,000 in a regular savings account, just move it over. It's a simple thing that you can do to work with the banks. Now, if you want to become your own bank and lend your money out, make double-digit returns, 10 to 12%, you can message me as well. I can give you some options. But with that, we're going to wrap this up. Some key takeaways and some key comments that I got from people in the chat were definitely, questions that I had in the beginning too. And I think the biggest takeaway is, you're going to be scared. You're going to procrastinate. You're going to think that you've waited too long and right now is not the time, or maybe you're scared because you don't know for sure if this will work out. And like I said, you never know until you try something. So time is ticking. I'm going to be 40 next month, basically. And it's important that you start thinking of ways to make multiple streams of income. Start investing in yourself, whether that's monetarily, whether that's in your health, whether that's in your relationships. You want to act now. Stop waiting. It's already, the first quarter of the year is already gone. 2026. It's already going to be, before you know it, we're going to be like, oh my gosh, where did the year go? So make sure you're setting yourself up now, educating yourself, looking into alternative ways to invest your money, and making sure that you are doing something different than you're currently doing right now. Like I said, you don't got to do a full 360 change, but even if that's getting up a little bit earlier so that you can get educated, so you can start doing your research, go down the rabbit hole, ask ChatGPT, ask Google, and then find people to follow, actual people, not just the internet, but actual people that are doing it, that are investing, and that are leaders in the space, so that okay, this is an option. Dasha's here. I could invest my money with her. And what would the returns be? Like, what is the risk going to look like? What am I willing to do to try to get ahead and keep up with inflation? Because the only thing I'm hearing right now is about gas prices. Everybody is noticing that going up. So it's happening right before your eyes. Everything is going up. Everything is costing more. So you got to keep up with that. You got to keep your money working for you. So with that, you don't need to be perfect, but you got to start. You got to start somewhere. If this is helpful, please follow me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. I share tips on life, investing, building wealth every single week on the social media platforms. I'm on there every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. And on YouTube, I post once a week, more longer form videos as well. So if you like this live, hit the like button, share it with your friends that need to hear it. It's this local girl teaching about wealth and, came from nothing, $0. Put myself through college, had a baby I got pregnant at 19, finished, got a good career. And at 30, decided to shift into real estate investing. Bought multiple fix and flips, bought multiple rentals. Now I'm a multimillionaire in just a few years, in 5 years. And own RV parks, partner on different businesses. And it's just because I started thinking outside the box. I started putting myself around other people that were doing what I wanted to do. And I never felt that confident to be like, oh, I deserve to be here. It took me a long time. I was the smallest fish in these big circles. But the more I got around them, the more confidence I gained that this was possible and I could do it. So, with that, take care and we will catch you on the next one. We hope.